Moving forward, we're going to use some code here. We're going to import some tools so you can see some characteristics or advantages of Jupyter Notebooks and why we use it so often compared to, for example, the regular Python terminal. One very important thing is visualizations. We, as data analysts, we're constantly getting data and expressing it through images or animations, right? But most commonly images. The main library we use in Python is matplotlib, and matplotlib is a first-class citizen in Jupyter Notebooks, which means that you can just run the figures from matplotlib and they will just show up directly in your notebook without the need of doing anything crazy. So can you imagine showing this beautiful picture in this terminal? That's very hard, of course. So again, that's one of the main advantages of a Jupyter Notebook. Moving forward, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get some data from a public API. So there is this CryptoWatch service, which basically has crypto information, Bitcoin, Ether, etc. And you can check the docs. We can actually open them. It's going to give you market data, etc. You can check the docs and how you can get, in this case, it's BTC, Bitcoin to Euro. Let's actually see if we can change it to USD price. There you go. So this is the current price of Bitcoin, the results, the price, etc. And we're actually going to do markets. Do we have Kraken, BTC used? And let's actually issue the same query we're going to use, which is open high low close, OHLC. And don't worry, this looks ugly, but this is actually what we're using. This is a list of results, right, for all different candles, we call them. We get the idea of the open price, close price, high price, and low price. So we're going to issue these requests to the internet, to this API, the CryptoWatch API, so we can get information about Bitcoin to do some analysis. I said Bitcoin, you can actually get it from Ether, for Ether, for all other different types of crypto or currencies. So the function we're defining is get historic price. It's a very simple function that uses pandas, one of the most important tools we're going to be using in this course, and the requests library, which is also a very famous library for Python. And what we're going to do here is we're going to get Bitcoin and Ether price for an entire week, right? So from February the 25th up to today, right? So depending on when I'm shooting this video. And we're gonna get a quick reference of the prices, open, high, low, close. So in this case, we have for information per hour. Okay, so this is something you can actually change in the request you're making to the API. You can reduce the candle size. In this case, we're keeping it per hour. So we have by the hour information about Bitcoin in this particular market, which is Bitstamp. And here we have this day, and this hour, right? 1 a.m. in the morning, open, close, highest price and lowest price, and also the volume that was operated within this time period. And we're gonna immediately plot the price. So we see that in this time, which I think is an entire day, the price dropped. It's actually a few days, like an entire week. The price dropped from $9,600 below, right, 9,000. So it was a pretty significant drop. Let's see Ether, how it performed. We have here all the records and how it moved. So this is what I told you, that when you're doing data analysis with a programming tool like Python or R, you're not constantly looking at the data. So what I'm showing you right here are the first 5 records. We actually have, let's do that. We actually have 169 records. Okay, 169 records. And this is per hour. So if we do 169 hours divided by 24 hours, we have 7 days, right? So we have 7 days of data. 169 records, and then we have a little bit more information here, statistical. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But basically, this is what I'm telling you. 169 records, to be honest, something you could be seeing in a spreadsheet, but I want you to get the concept here. We're not just looking at our data. We have it in our brain. We know what it is. We know what shape it has. We know how many records it had. We know information, what's the standard deviation, what's the mean of that, right? So close price, what's the standard deviation, right? What's the average, the mean, the median, right? So we have information about our data. It's sitting behind, in our brain, but we're not looking at it. And that's because, this is a very simple example with only 169 records, but in real life, we're dealing with millions of records, so it's impossible to see it. Have you ever tried scrolling in an Excel spreadsheet through millions of records? It's crazy. It's not possible. It's just unusable. So that's, again, the way we work with data analysis in Python and R and other tools. We don't constantly keep an eye on the data. We know the shape of it, and we just have these quick references, like show me the first 5 records, show me the last 5 records, show me this chunk here, that, there, but that's it. So again, these are the visualizations we're creating, and Jupyter Notebooks, again, it's just very simple to get the plot done right there. We're gonna also see in Jupyter Notebooks a few other pretty neat things. The first one is that we can use another library which is called Bokeh, and the difference is that Bokeh will have charts that are interactive. So I'm moving it right here. It has JavaScript and it's interactive. If you look back again to what we had here, this is a static chart. It's just a PNG. You can actually export it as a PNG. There is nothing you can do with it. With Bokeh, it's actually a dynamically generated interactive chart. So I can zoom in pieces of data, right? I can move it around. I can just do whatever I want with it. I can refresh and reset it to whatever it was, and it's a dynamically generated chart. The difference is, if you are working with data dynamically in your analysis, sort of in your exploration, then Bokeh is a pretty neat tool because you can zoom in, right? So what's going on here? Let's look at this thing. If we're working on a mean reverting strategy, for example, we see a high value, we see a low value, the mean is going to be here, so we see some mean reversion in there. It's very interesting. If you need to, for example, export a PDF, export a huge HTML file, then static images are going to be probably better. So that's the difference between them. To be honest, Matplotlib is a lot more popular than Bokeh. We use Matplotlib a lot more because we actually have a few other tools like Seaborn that make it very easy to access and use it. What else? Jupyter Notebooks work very well with some Excel files, with other file formats, CSVs, XMLs, Excel files, etc. And that's also the availability of Jupyter Lab. So Jupyter Lab can immediately interpret and open CSV files. It can open with some extensions XLS files, XML files, JSON files. It has a very nice editor and tree view for JSON. So the Jupyter Lab environment combined with Python and Jupyter Notebooks will give you a good idea of Jupyter in general. So in this case, we have just saved. I'm not going to execute this. You can try it out, but you can execute and run what we have just done and export this crypto file as an Excel spreadsheet. So you can just click on here and you can basically download it. I'm going to open it and see what it has. There you go. So let me reduce the size of this thing. There you go. So you can see that we have just exported two sheets, in this case Bitcoin and Ether, right, with the data that we had in our previous notebook, right? So that's all, again, the combination of Jupyter, the combination of Python, the combination of Jupyter Lab, which our tools just work very well together. So we're gonna keep moving forward in this video, this tutorial. talking about more data analysis in general. We're going to talk about Python. We're going to do a quick review of Python. Maybe when I was running these commands, you felt a little bit lost what I was doing with it. So we're going to do a quick review of Python and all that. And of course, we're going to get directly deep into data analysis with pandas, with some other tools. I want to tell you something before we finish this chapter. And it's that it's very important for you to get familiar with data analysis, with Jupyter Notebooks, because you're going to spend a ton of time with it. And it's a very, very valuable skill that you can get if you get proficient, comfortable with Jupyter Notebooks, like creating cells, deleting cells, cutting, pasting, moving things around, etc. For you to generate reports, Jupyter Notebooks are going to be excellent. So keep an eye on it. Keep practicing it. The only way to learn it, to be honest, is keep practicing it. Keep open the command palette, so you can always, if you forgot how can I cut a cell, well, there is here this command X, right? It's gonna just tell you up front. Keep an eye on it. Keep working with it and practicing it. And once you get familiar with Jupyter Notebooks, you're gonna move very, very fast. Remember, we have these nice list of compiled commands and reference you can always access if you need extra help. And we're going to keep moving forward now with more data analysis.